Hey everyone, my name is Ryan, also known as Killaphantom over on YouTube. Kind of just want to give a quick intro of the podcast here for anyone new that might be listening. Essentially, the What Is Going On podcast is a mix of RP and getting to know the people behind the characters from that RP. This is all from like GTARP, where we all who are on the podcast play in a server called OCRP. So if you're interested in just hearing what the idea is about, want to give it a chance, I suggest to give it a listen. As you go along, you'll get the general premise, and as you get to the other character portion where we talk as ourselves, you can hear some insight on RP in general and that sort of thing. So, thanks for clicking on the podcast, and I hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to What Is Going On, episode 6. This one's going to be a little bit different just because we had some scheduling issues with the guests we had lined up this week. So we're going to go ahead and do it's going to be a solo show with just me talking out of character. Obviously, I'm Kill Phantom, aka Ryan, as some of you know me. And this one's going to be as I got some questions from the audience, just going to go through them, answer them. This could be 10 minutes, this could be 20 minutes, this could be 2 hours. I don't know how long I want to sit here and just talk. So I got used to just talking into nothing, so I figured this would be pretty easy without me using such words as such, so, but, and whatever else is happens when you stumble with your words. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. The first question comes from Moonlight Owl and Nemo. Is kind of the two questions I put together. Starting with the first one: Are you going to be doing the podcast for a while or end it anytime soon? Ideally, I'd like to keep going with the podcast as long as I can. It's something I do have an interest in. It's been fun to edit together. There have been difficulties in the process. That's the follow up of Nemo. Is how have you found the creative process of making these podcast episodes? It's been very interesting. It's something I wasn't used to. I never thought it'd be anything I would do. I never think I would be comfortable leading something like this. I'm not exactly the most outgoing person. I would say I was shy throughout most of my childhood. And even as an adult in social situations, I still consider myself a shy person. But being able to lead the charge on it, be able to organize everything, that has been really good, and also the challenge because when you try to schedule other adults who have their own lives, one thing can go the other way, and then suddenly here we are. Like, it's no one's fault, but it's something you have to account for and prepare for, which is why I think me doing one of these solo podcasts is so critical and me getting comfortable in doing something like this because it could be something I just have to do even when I get super busy. Just something I have to do in general just to continue to put out the content that I want to put out for you guys. So obviously, I could just skip a week of the podcast, but knowing myself and just given things I've given up for and given up on in the past, I don't want to not put out an episode because then I'm gonna feel like I can skip the week after and I can skip the week after that. And at that point, the podcast is done over. And that's something I do want to keep on going, bringing on people. And as we branch out away from familiar faces and people I've RP with, but don't actually get to talk to on a regular basis, it's going to be harder and harder to schedule in a sense. So I think there will be more times when it's going to be a little bit more scrambled together at the last minute, which is something I'm going to prepare for, and I need to get better at preparing and scheduling things out further down the line. So that's where we're at with the podcast. I am absolutely loving where it is and how it's going. You guys seem to like it. Hasn't really gotten any negativity from it, so I'm excited for it. Ready to keep on going with it. So we can go on to our second question here from Aaron. Sorry if this question was already answered, but how did each of your characters come about? What was your goal for RP of each of them? So I think there's quite a few characters I could go into. Wilmer obviously started off as just a hillbilly character. We discussed this, I think, in a prior podcast, at least for him. And then he slowly grew as he started interacting with people. His interaction of Billy, played by Steph, was critical in his growth because that became the twin thing, and then the triplets. Larry, his early interactions with Larry was very critical to his growth, just kind of slowly morphing into the character he is now. Little Bill, played by Noah, was absolutely necessary to the growth of that character. Having him to bounce off of ideas was fantastic and definitely has grown him into what he is now. Wilmer is probably well, obviously is my most favorite character. He's the one I feel most comfortable playing with for long periods of times. It's just a natural RP source. You're just able to go into him and be able to RP without really no thought process. You can just go in the server, drive around, and get into some shenanigans. Florence, on the other hand, she started off just as like a generic old lady character. She was just like, "Oh, I'm old," and that was her whole shtick. But as she went along, she slowly morphed into what she is now. Bingo came out of nowhere. It just was me being very random when we were getting arrested. We were getting taken back to the old folks' home, and she just started yelling "Bingo" outside the inside the transport vehicle. And then the $1 Bob just came because someone named Bob Barker showed up in my chat. Hey Bob, if you're listening, he's a great supporter of the channel, but he showed up in chat, and I was like, oh, Florence would like The Price is Right, and I just started saying it, and it just kind of clicked. It's just one of those moments where you go, this is a good thing for this character. And that at that point, Florence has taken off from there. Obviously, her relationship with Harold, her interactions with the citizens of Sandy Shores and the county, she is a menace, but she's also my menace that I just have a lot of fun with. She's my true, if you ask me, she's my true criminal out there. I'll touch on one more because there's a lot of characters I could go deep into, but Denny is one that's been popping up more recently. I've gotten back into playing him. He's my original OG character. He's the first character I went and made. He was mainly made to be a stringer because to me coming into the RP, into OCRP, that was such an easy way to get into RP. Like you just go to where the stuff is, you can interact with the other stringers, you're just kind of watching, you get some small engagements every now and again. It's just very welcoming to be able to do that because like Jason doing Larry was very like welcoming to the RP, get some jabs back and forth. So fun interactions. But now that he's had time to kind of grow into his own character, I would say I would argue he's my most fleshed out character. There is weight to what he says. He's gone through shit. He's quit drinking because of RP. He's lost family because of his drinking and his work. And he's just great. He's learning to grow and accept who he is as a person, but still wants also to watch out for the people he cares about. Like in the most recent stream from Saturday night on August 12th, he gave some very good words to Morgan, who was getting involved with stuff with the family. And he likes to look out for the younger reporters out there who are just fresh on the beat and everything. And I think he gave her some good words to live by, just kind of watching out for her because he knows how dangerous life in the county can be. No, he's not exactly a fan favorite for most people coming on in. They were like, "Oh, where's Wilmer? Where's Florence?" But to me, Denny, his humor is my humor. It's sarcastic humor. He calls it as he sees it. It's that's to me why I like playing Denny. I know people get bored of him sometimes, but he will always have a place on the channel just because I enjoy playing as him so much. All right. We can move on to our next question from Aaron as well. Any guilt or pleasure TV shows? Okay, there's one in general that always comes to my mind. It is the dumbest show in the world, and it is Mountain Monsters that played on the Travel Channel. I think it was on Discovery for a little bit now. I think it's on the Travel Channel. And it's just a bunch of fat hillbillies from Virginia who are hunting Bigfoot and other like cryptid monsters. It's very it is probably the dumbest show you'll ever watch because it's just them screaming, pointing guns all around, pointing guns at each other. And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get that Bigfoot," and they're all just cheering about. And then like they hear a noise, and they're just swinging their guns everywhere, going, "Where'd that Bigfoot go?" And it's the funniest shit in the world. And then they have like an actual like narrative to it. Like the most recent seasons, like they're fighting like a another group of people trying to find Bigfoot, and like they're trying to make them find a ghost for them, and it's a whole it's a whole thing. Like when ghosts started getting involved, that shit got real in that show. So if you have not seen it, you should check out Monsters. It's not real, and you should not consider it real. But just drink a little bit, enjoy yourself, and you'll have a good time. It's just pure comedy. You can find like all the seasons on Amazon and watch it. I recommend it. It's worth your time for a little humor. All right. Oh, our next question comes from Toyo. What is the part of work that keeps you going back? So obviously for work, I'm a special education para assistant for the school that I work at, an elementary school. I work with kids who have either learning disabilities or have behavior goals, anything like that. And it's for that job, it is sometimes hard for people to want to go back every day because you can get hit at times, you can get yelled at times, it can feel not worth it. But to me, just seeing the interaction I have with the kids, being able to watch as they grow, that's what makes it worth it. Like I worked with he was in kindergarten, and I worked with him all the way up till he's moving schools now as he goes into second grade. And seeing from where he started to where he left us at the end of that school year, uh actually cracks me up a little bit since I'm not gonna see him anymore. But that that is what it's all about. Being able to make that change. And that's what I want to continue doing. That's why I want to be a teacher. I want to be in the classroom, being able to help each and every student that comes through my door. That's what it's always been about with me working with kids is being that mentor because a lot of them don't have male role models, especially in the town I work in. It's a lot of single families, and being like one of the few males in the field, especially in elementary level, they need strong male role models. It's essential for just how you grow up. And you see that even with people who like they grow up with just single father. They then need like a strong female role model in life. It goes back and forth and you see a lot of stuff working with kids. And some of it just breaks your heart. And other times your heart grows two sizes as you're just able to see amazing things as you see the growth. So that's why I do what I do. It's why I never would go full time YouTube. I don't think I'd ever be able to leave the field and feel like I'm doing the right thing. This will always be a hobby because of that. All right, what is our next question? Comes from no one because they left it anonymously. What is the perfect kind of weather in your opinion? To me, I like when it's sunny out. It's probably springtime or fall because I like when it's sunny out, but it's cool. So I can be out walking around. There's a nice breeze. That is probably my perfect kind of weather. I do enjoy storms, like thunderstorms and a nice snowstorm are always very cool to me. I like watching them from the window, just being able to experience that. But being outside, I enjoy just a nice like cool breeze, a little bit of sunshine, just being able to walk around, to connect for a walk for a while. That is my perfect kind of weather. Do not enjoy super hot. Don't really need the super cold, but living in Iowa, I deal with all of it, and they usually can be within a day of each other that I have to deal with that. So, you know, that's the fun Midwest. Ooh. All right, next question is from Zombie. What is your favorite character to play for long scenes, and what has been your favorite scene to be a part of? So, to me, I think the easiest answer for this is obviously Wilmer. Wilmer and Denny, I think, are my two characters that can do long scenes, but even Denny kind of has to like slide out eventually just because of his nature. But Wilmer definitely can just kind of, if he can be part, if he's can be integrated into the scene, he can play it out and then carry it out even over a couple of days. That has not been an issue. Favorite scenes though, a lot of the stuff with the Wyatt investigation was very good. I enjoyed a lot of that. The initial scenes at the Humane Labs when we were doing a lot of that sci-fi stuff were really good, and kind of helped create a bond between a lot of those characters. There's just I feel like every time you're on, you're always just making new and great scenes. So probably in a few weeks there'll be another great scene I'll be able to add to the list. It's just the nature of the RP and how it goes. All right. We got a couple more questions here. So here's another one. Was it easy to start streaming or were you hesitant to start out? And at what point did it start feeling natural? This is an interesting one because it was not easy to start streaming. To be able just to talk into a microphone, even doing this, I can feel like I'm struggling to not feel awkward just talking into the mic. It's a lot easier when you're just playing the game because your mind kind of shifts focus off it. Me just staring at the screen here, it's blank. It's a little bit more difficult, but being able just to stare at the game, interact with people in game, interact with you guys in chat, that feels a bit more natural as we're getting there. When I was on Twitch and I didn't have that much interaction, it definitely felt awkward because it was just me talking to myself or just not talking at all because I was just too nervous to. But as we gone along, I wouldn't say it's felt. I don't think I wouldn't say it's ever natural. It's definitely me just being a dork still, and people just happen to like watching it. But if I can pass it off as somewhat natural, then I guess that's a success in its own right, huh? That's I'll take it. That's a win. I would think that's the advice I would give anyone that wants to start streaming. You just have to just talk. Even if there's no one there, just talk. And if someone pops in, they'll hear you talking. They might want to stick around and listen to you, then interact, and then you can kind of grow from there. If you just sit there and you're not talking or you're just breathing into the mic all heavy, I don't think anyone's ever going to want to stick around and watch. You got to show off your personality. Alvin would say that I don't have a personality, but he sucks at Mario Party, so why would I ever listen to him? That is for streaming wise, just to keep people in the loop. I do want to do more streams of Alvin. He's been my one of my closest friends for many years now. We just bounce off each other really well with ideas and jokes, and I'm very excited to continue to include him in the content because a lot of you guys already know and love him, and he's just we just are so natural together that it would be very ignorant of me to ignore that because natural relationships are way better content in my opinion than rather than like putting people who don't know each other together just because like they're bigger names. That is where I'm at. And that's like with the podcast. The idea is I put people together who already mesh together a little bit. They have connections or either through the RP or through other things. So I don't still want to put two people together like that just don't mix. They don't have any connections in the RP. They don't have any connections outside of RP, and they just go, "Who the hell am I on with? This is going to be awkward to talk around them." I just don't. I don't want to put people in that position. I want it to be natural and free flowing. That's the idea behind what I do. All right, we got one more question here. Over the past years, we approach that time. A lot has changed for you. What is the one that still shocked you the most? I think the thing that has shocked me the most is just the support from you guys. Like when I started posting stuff on YouTube, doing streams on YouTube and Twitch, I never expected to get more than I never expected 1,000 subscribers. That was completely unrealistic to me to even think about getting that. I just wanted to do it because I was already on playing. I'd maybe get on maybe at once every 2-3 weeks just to hang out, play in between, like if I was bored doing anything else. But that has quickly changed into being on a few more days a week than that, and way more often. Having characters that have really developed, meeting lifelong friends, I would say, from OCRP and the community itself, like the mod and the admin team that I was able to put together. Those guys have been like so critical in the growth of the channel and the Discord. They have put in so much work that they just don't get enough credit for, and they definitely deserve it. Because without them, the my channel would not be what it is. I would not be able to put out the content that I am putting out at a level I think I am, and I still have so much room for improvement. I don't think I'm even putting out my best stuff. To me, a lot of stuff is still half-assed and not great in my opinion. But the goal is to keep growing, to keep learning. That's why, like with the podcast, it was a learning curve. I had to start learning how to use auditions for stuff, how to edit out some of the background noise, how to edit out like large bits of sounds that just wouldn't sound appealing to the ears. It's been just fun to learn how to do that because it's not anything I'm going to apply to my future at all. But I've always just enjoyed learning the tech side of things like that. That's always been interesting. That to me has to be the thing that's changed the most over the course of this past year. Just seeing this community come together, grow into what it is, to embrace who I am as a person and the characters I've created, the humor I have. It's at times it can be daunting with some of the comments you get, but other times it's so rewarding just seeing like people say that this video made my day. I was able to take my mind off some things. That's what it's really all about. And I hear that even when working the kids I work with. Like if they're having a bad day, I try to make a joke or something to take their mind off it. They get hurt. I know how to be silly so they can take their mind off them getting hurt. It's a similar wavelength in that regard, and that's always what I've tried to do. That's just who I am as a person. I will always want to make sure everyone else is taken care of, they're feeling better about their day. And if I can do that just by being an idiot on GTARP and putting stuff out on YouTube and recording myself talking like an idiot and stumbling over myself, then why not? There's no reason not to. And I'm looking forward to continuing to do it as I stumble over my words some more. And I think these, as I have to record them, will get easier to do. But this first one was awkward in my opinion, and you'll have to let me know if I'm just an awkward person in general. And it could have been easier if I talked. Now I'm curious if it would have been easier if I'd done it as Wilmer. Just talked in Wilmer's voice because I feel like I'm more comfortable in this voice just talking to you guys. Oh yeah, that already felt so much better. Well, we're past the point of being able to decide if that would have been a thing or not. We're about the 20-minute mark in terms of recording. Obviously, will get shrank down in terms of editing. Uh, I just want to thank you guys for being so supportive of not only the podcast, but just the channel itself and of me. It's been an amazing journey this past year, and I'm looking forward to continuing on with it as we move towards GTA 6 and how things are going to change at that point, and how OCRP continues to grow as we add in more and more people from the applications we just had. It's amazing times. It's been an amazing journey. I can't wait to continue it with you guys as we grow more and head towards 10K. And I hope you stick with me even when I have to take time off with student teaching and just school in general as I get ready to go into the classrooms. A lot of my life is going to change drastically at that point, where summer will be the big focus of like a lot of my streaming times and weekends at times. But it's going to be worth it. My RP is not going to change. My humor will be the same. You just may have a grumpier killer at times as I actually have to deal with, grading and parents. That's there'll be some fun stories, I'm sure, in there in the mix. So I think that's where we're gonna end it. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week with some guests. I'm gonna try to line up some people ahead of time. I just have to see who's available and all that. But I'm not going to bore you with those details. That's it's thrilling to be able to schedule people. It's great fun. The behind the scenes of making a podcast. I never thought I'd actually have to deal with that. But yeah, I'm getting out of here. You get out of here. We're all done here. 10-4, 1066. Wilmer out. Hey everyone, this is Killa. A few days after recording this, I did just want to update with the guests for the coming week that you guys can ask questions for, which you can find the form in the description below or on the Discord. The guest coming up that will be on the podcast will be Bradley, who will be playing his dispatcher / Officer Riley. And then with him, we'll have Bugs, who will be as Chuck. So we'll have the dispatcher, Wilmer, Chuck dynamic going on. And you guys will be able to ask Bradley and Bugs some questions. So make sure you send those questions in. I'm super excited for it. And yeah, take care, guys.